Welcome to another interesting tutorial, dear Soup Creatives. In today's tutorial, we'll be learning how to make this beautiful mermaid rushed gown. Okay, it is a mermaid gown, so what you are doing first, you get your mermaid skirt patterns. In front of me, I have mine drafted. If you don't know how to draft this, kindly drop in the comment section. Let me know so I can drop a video on how to draft a mermaid gown with a little bit of train at the back. How to draft a mermaid skirt. Okay, so I have my mermaid skirt completely drafted here. So we are starting with this. To alter this, I'm altering the back, but just know that the same thing I do for the back is the same thing I have already done for the front. Okay, so I have my back pattern here and I have my masking tape, I have my scissors, I also have my straight ruler here. So to start with, I'll be linking from my waistline to my knee line like this in a diagonal format. When you are doing yours, can you see what I've done? You decide where your the rushed parts should end, right? So that's what will determine how long this your line will be. For me, I took it down to my knee line. You can bring it upwards. I took it down to my knee line so that I will rush it. I will rush it up to that point to get the beautiful effect. Okay, so I'll keep this pattern aside and then I'll continue with this other side. So this small pattern is to be protected since I'll be using it also for the upper bodice. Okay, so I'll be inserting my slash lines this way. Can you see? I'll insert my slash lines in no particular order, but I'm ensuring that the space is not too much, so I have as much slash lines as possible. Okay, so from this part I started, I went down from the knee line, entering the mermaid shape down. I did about 17 to 19 slash lines. Okay, so after slashing, I will label them 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 till the end. Okay, and I think for this back I got about 17 slash lines. Okay, so after doing that, I will now cut them out accordingly. I used a pen so it is not too visible. It's not too visible, but while cutting it out you see. So after cutting and spreading, I will rush it to this size. Okay, so let me keep it aside first. We'll revisit it by the time we want to draft our upper bodies. Okay, so at this point it's time to cut out our slash lines. Now before you cut out your slash lines, you need another pattern paper underneath, which I have done, and then you measure this part of the pattern that you cut out. Can you see? From the waist slanted to the knee, you have to measure it and know how many inches you have here to know how long the extra pattern paper should be. So for me, I have 21 inches here. Can you see? I have measured and it gave me 21 inches. What you need to do is to times 21 by 4, which gave me 44 inches, right? Now the pattern paper I'm placing underneath, or the spreading out, should be up to 84 inches, so that by the time I ruffle it back to this size, it will become full. The ruffles will become full and beautiful. Okay, so let me check if it is up to 81 inches. If it's not up to, I'll keep adding more pattern papers until I get the length I want. It wasn't enough, so I added more pattern papers to make it longer. Can you see how long it is going across my very long table? Wow, this is serious. So I am done placing the pattern paper I have measured, and it is now enough. So it is time for me to start slashing and spreading out. Please watch carefully so you can get exactly what I am doing. So can you see what I'm doing? I am cutting and placing them, spacing them out accordingly, following the shape. Okay, now as I'm spacing them out, it is according to what I want. There's no particular or specific way of doing this, but all you need to do is to follow this shape. Okay, so I'm following the shape and spreading it out to the extent that I will have enough to ruffle. Okay, so I'll keep doing this until I exhaust all 13 slashed lines. Okay, I mean 17, all 17 slash points, so to say. So I'm still doing it. If you don't spread it out well, what I'm spreading out here is up to 3.5 to 4 inches away from each other. Okay, if you don't spread it out well like that, it will not cover the entire space. Even after spreading it out, you notice that it's not up to that 84 inches that is supposed to be. You can readjust it and spread it out even further. The main point is you should have a guideline. You should have a measurement guiding you. You know how long you want this slashing to be. So already I have shown you how to calculate that. So dear creatives, this is how far we have gone. Can you see how long the spreading out is? It is 84 inches spread away from each other. Now this 84 inches is not inclusive of the knee downwards. Okay, so the mermaid pattern is still down. It's from the knee upwards that we spread out to give us this 84 inches. So after spreading it out, I am now following the line. Just watch what I'm cutting out. I am following the shape to cut out the pattern that we have spread out. Okay, so basically our pattern is ready. Okay, so by the time we transfer to fabric, we'll rush it, we'll ruffle it and get it to this point. So from the waistline here, we'll attach it this way, and then we'll ruffle all these parts, ruffle it till we get to the knee line. Okay, so that's how it's going to be. The next thing we're about to do is to transfer our patterns to fabric. Now before we do that, I want to show you the front pattern. I've already done the same thing I did to the back for the front. Look at the front pattern. So the difference between the front and back is that we'll be cutting the down part on fold. Okay, that is the mermaid part will be on fold, not into two. Okay, but for the rushed part, it's just the same thing. Can you see the shape? So we'll also ruffle it to the size of the part we cut out for the front, for the center front. So as you can see here, they are just the same. Now keep away our front pattern, and then we proceed to transferring our patterns to fabric. So here is the fabric we'll be using, a Duchess fabric. I wanted to use a Duchess. You can actually use crepe or lycra, any soft fabric will do this job. Okay, but for me, I just wanted a Duchess, a sky blue Duchess, so I got it. Now these two patterns will be used for the upper body, so let's just carefully keep them aside. By the time we are drafting the upper bodies, I'll show you how we are going to use them. For now, let's proceed to transferring our pattern to our Duchess fabric, our skirt patterns. So dear creatives, for this Duchess fabric I have here, I have 3 yards of fabric. Okay, now my mermaid skirt has a train at the back, so I would have used 3.5 yards so that everything will enter very well. Okay, or 4 yards, but just watch how I'm going to place this fabric to accommodate this very long pattern. If you are on the bigger size, it is advisable to go for 4 to 5 yards for this particular rush style if you want it to come out very well. Okay, for me, I am not big, so I'm using 3 yards, and then I'll still do small join at the train area. Okay, but it will still be very fine. Just watch me. Can you see how I'm placing the fabric? I'm folding the fabric. I'm exhausting the 3 yards. So because of the train at the back, okay, folding it like the fabric comes by 60 inches, so folding it like this gives me 30 on each side, but it did not accommodate the train. The train is still longer than this. So if the fabric was up to 4 yards, I would have cut from the yardage and joined before transferring to fabric. But since it's just 3 yards, I'll just make do. I'll attach leftover pieces to the train to still bring out my train. Just watch what I'm doing so that at the end of the day you will know exactly how to do yours. So basically the length of this pattern and of the fabric for the pattern is perfect. The only thing that is not perfect here is the train. Okay, the M area is wider than the fabric fold. Okay, so I'll come and adjust it and show you exactly how I'm going to do it. But know that the pattern accommodated my front, the fabric accommodated my front pattern. My front pattern was perfect. Then it's just the back that the train is SS. Okay, the train of the pattern is SS. As you can see, every other part has been put inside. So here I'm cutting out the side with 1 inch sewing allowance. Okay, I'll cut till I get to the end, and then for the back area I'll also cut with 1 inch allowance for zipper. Okay, to accommodate our zipper. So I'm still cutting out. Here is the train I was telling you about that the fabric did not accommodate. Okay, we'll revisit it. However, let me just keep cutting. I'm just trimming the hem to follow the shape of the pattern. Let it be beautiful. So after trimming the hem, I'll go upwards and cut out the zipper area also using 1 inch. Okay. So now that I am done cutting out the zipper area also with 1 inch, it's time for us to take care of our trim. So I'll get 2 pieces of fabrics and just place underneath and cut out. Just watch me. I'll place them in such a way that I'll overlap them on each other. Okay, the overlapping is because I'll need 1/2 inch allowance to sew them together, so they must be overlapped. I've done that and I've placed my my train on top of it, and then I'll proceed to cut out. So our back pattern is fully ready with a train. Okay, now here is what we have. We are going to be joining this to this. Okay, so that means we'll get our scissors to separate it, and we'll join it, and we have our train perfectly cut out. Okay, so now that we have our train, let's go over to the sewing process. Also note that we have cut out our front already. It's the same method, but the front, fortunately for us, was accommodated by the pattern paper, by the fabric. Okay, so there is nothing, we did not do any joining, no join for the front at all. So I'll also go ahead and join this our train, and then we start the ruffling process. So dear creatives, welcome back. As you can see here, we have already joined our train, and it's now time for us to ruffle. Can you see? That's the joining we did. Okay, now this is our center back, and here is our side back. So the part we are ruffling is going to be attached to the side back. So what we'll do, we'll ruffle it until it will get to this size like this. Can you see? So that's what we want to do right away. Before we move ahead to ruffling the back, let me show you what our front pattern looks like so far. I have ruffled on one side already. Can you see the front pattern? So the down part, the mermaid area, was cut out on fold. Okay, so this is it. This is it. I have ruffled on this side. From the waistline, I ruffle till I get to that knee area where my ruffling stopped. Look at the pattern paper. So I cut it out also the same way I cut out the back. Can you see? So I ruffled till I get to the end. That's the knee area like this. Can you see? So this is exactly what we also want to achieve for the back. As long as it is, I ruffled it down until it got to that point. Now for the ruffling, you can ruffle in any way. You can use your ruffle footer. You can just use your machine, your loose stitches on your machine. As for me, I like using my hand needle and thread. So that's what I'm using here. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm just sewing loosely. So I'll sew this I'll follow this pattern until I get to the end. Now I'm also at the end on this side, so I'm just bringing my pattern to come and check if it is accurate. Okay, yes it is. If it's not, I'll spread it out until it will be together, but if it is shorter, I will have to ruffle more. So the pattern was a little longer, so I spread it out. After that, I am now placing a knot here so that the thread will stay in place. So our front pattern is ready. We have ruffled it and it is ready. We'll keep the skirt of the front aside, and then we'll move over to the back and continue our ruffling. I hope you understand how we got to this stage. I hope you understand how the pattern was drafted. The mermaid area for the skirt, once again, was placed on fold. Okay, so it was not cut out, it was placed on fold. The only part we cut out is this V area. Okay, so that is it. I was actually recording this front pattern by the time I was drafting, but it wasn't recording at all. So I have to show the entire back pattern so that you use a back to be able to do the front. Okay, we are done with the front. Now we move on to our back and also ruffle the back. So here we have the back ruffled already, the same method we did the front. Okay, so as you can see here, the back is already ruffled. Now the difference between the back and front now is the fact that the back was cut out in twos and not on fold. Can you see? So this mermaid part was cut out in twos because of the extra train we are adding at the back. Okay, because of this extra train. So we have ruffled and stopped at the knee area. We are going to sew it close upwards of the knee area by about 3 inches. So we're basically done. We'll go ahead and start sewing. First, we'll be joining the back to the front on the sides. Now, before I join back and front, I'll first of all join the back, the two sides of the back. Can you see how I'm joining it? I'm joining only the mermaid area first. I'm not joining the ruffled part first, but I'll later also join the ruffled part about 3 inches upwards. Okay, so I am now joining the mermaid area, the train, so that just like the front that has just one pattern, the back will also be in one. Okay, I'm joining it now. So now we have our back in one now. Can you see? So we have joined on the center back, the train area. Later I'll join upwards a little to this point. Okay, it's now time for us to join the front and back patterns by the sides. Okay, as we are joining them by the sides, we should ensure that they are as flat as possible. Okay, the ruffles will form by themselves. We are not ruffling anything. We are just sewing a straight and plain fabric. So just watch what I'll be doing. I'm trying to arrange them and place them right side facing each other. So after joining by the sides, here is our result. Can you see? If you can watch well, you notice that our drapes have already started forming by the sides. Can you see? So it is left for you to arrange your drapes according to how you want them to appear when you're done sewing your dress. Okay, so we are done with the lower part of the dress, the skirt parts. We are basically done. By the time we are done with the upper part, we'll come and join it together. But now let us move on to drafting the upper part. So here is our skirt part completely made, and this is the part that will be attached to the upper bodice. Here is our waistline. This part I'm touching now is our waistline. So after attaching it to the upper bodice, you arrange your drapes accordingly. Okay, so but before then, we'll go ahead and do our bodice parts so that you'll understand exactly how it was done, and then I'll show you how to join the upper bodice to the skirt. But first, let's keep the skirt aside. And now for the upper bodice, I expect you know how to draft a basic bodice pattern. Also, if you don't know how to draft, I already have the link in my channel, the video in my channel. I'll be dropping the link here so that you can watch how to draft a basic bodice back and front pattern. So for me, I have mine here. My patterns are here. Here is the front pattern and here is the back pattern. Once again, if you don't know how to draft this basic bodice, just rush to the description box. You'll see a link where you learn how to draft this first before you come and continue watching this video. For peradventure, you can draft it. Just stay tuned and keep watching. So I want to alter it now to this particular pattern. Kindly note that this pattern, this bodice here is sewn with a stretchy fabric. So I got this spandex fabric, otherwise known as lycra fabric. So it is a spandex fabric because it stretches two ways. Can you see? Can you see how it stretches? It stretches so much, it has much elasticity. So that's what we are using for this style, so that it fits very perfectly without needing any darts. Okay, so that's what we'll be using. Bearing that in mind, you know that for the pattern there's going to be slight alteration. First of all, there's going to be no darts. Secondly, we have to make back and front patterns equal. For instance, my back half length is 15 inches, my front half length is 17 inches. I'll bring the back down to 16, then I'll take the front upwards to 16, so that the front and back patterns will be equal. So that's the alteration I'm trying to make now. These patterns were not drafted for this particular style. It's just a normal basic pattern I drafted. But if you are drafting your pattern just for this particular style, from the onset, you know that the back and front half length should be equal. The front half length should be 1 inch short of the original half length, while the back half length should be 1 inch longer than the original back half length. Okay, so here I'm just doing my alteration. I'm measuring my 16. I'll cut off the excess from the front. After cutting off the excess from the front, I'll go ahead and add it to the back to bring the back down to 16 inches. So front and back half lengths will be equal. So also I have added that allowance of 2 inches by the side before, so I'll cut off that allowance too. So I'm measuring it out and I'll cut it out. There is no dart. We are not using any darts. Once again, if you are drafting for this style directly with a spandex fabric, don't add darts to your pattern. Don't add anything like that allowance, so that you don't need to do all these alterations I am doing. So I have cut off the excess that allowance. Now the back and front half length need to be equal. I'll add back the 1 inch I cut out from the front to the back. I'll use a masking tape to tape it to stay now. I've also done that. Can you see? So I'm trying to trim the parts to be equal. Now you can see that the back and front half lengths are now equal. Okay, just trimming off the front so it becomes very perfect. Can you see? So back and front half length must be equal for a spandex fabric because it is stretchy. Okay, now I haven't gotten the length of the pattern. The next thing you want to do will be altering the down. Okay, from the waistline down, we'll be adding this pattern we cut out from the skirts. Can you see? The skirts and the upper body's waist are equal. So I'll use my masking tape to tape it to stay. I'm sure you still remember this part that we cut out from the skirts, pattern. So you must join it to your bodice pattern, so you can get your full bodice in place without having to join on the waistline on your fabric. Now I'm also doing the same thing for the back pattern. Okay, so when you cut out these parts on your skirt, just keep it safe. Just like I mentioned earlier, you keep it safe because you come and add it back to the bodice pattern, so you can get the bodies all together as one. And here we are done, and this is what we'll be transferring to our spandex fabric. Also, before the transfer, we still have some alteration to do in the neckline area. So I'll get my tape measure and my pen. The neckline is a jewel neckline, a basic neckline. Okay, so from the shoulder tip, from the neck point area, I mark 2 inches away from the neck point. Can you see? Then I'll just link beautifully to our armhole area. I can use my armhole curve to get a nice curve there. So as you can see, I am trying to get the curve. Mind you, you can actually do whatever style you want for your upper bodies. Okay, I'm showing you exactly what I'm doing. So I have gotten this. I'll cut it out now, and I'll also do the same thing on the front bodice. I think this is this is the front bodice. I'll do the same thing on the back bodice. Okay. So we are having this for our front pattern. Now for the back, I'm doing the same thing. I measured 2 inches away from the neck point, curved beautifully to the armhole depth, and then I am cutting out right now for the back pattern. So having done that, here we have our back pattern also ready. So it's now time for us to transfer our patterns to fabric. So remember, this is a stretchy fabric, so you follow all the rules of a stretchy fabric here. For a stretchy fabric, you don't need side seam allowance, okay? On a normal day, you can actually drag this with 2 inches smaller than your actual body measurement. Like my bust circumference is 37 inches. I would have used 35 inches to draft the pattern. Okay, but now I maintain my normal measurement for this pattern, so I will not add any allowance for the sewing. Okay, I'll not add any allowance for the sewing, but I'll be sewing with 1 inch sewing allowance. Okay, so that's what I have done. Now I am arranging the pattern to stay in place before I'll cut out. Now I added 1/2 inch sewing allowance on the armhole area, on the neckline area, and on the shoulder areas only. Just that. Okay, but for the side, no allowance at all. For the center, it is on fold as you have seen. Okay, so we are now moving on to cutting out the back. We'll keep the front aside. So for the back, here I am arranging the fabric once again. For the back, unlike the front, we'll be adding the zipper allowance at the center back. But for the side that we'll be sewing, attaching to our upper bodies, to our skirts, we are not adding any allowance at all, but we'll be sewing with 1 inch or a little more than 1 inch of allowance, so it hugs and fits perfectly. Okay, once again, the zipper allowance will be using 1 inch or 1/2 inch. By the time we want to fix the zipper, we can still trim out, so I will cut with 1 inch first. I'm here arranging the pattern paper to stay in place on the fabric. So here I'm also done cutting out the back pattern. The next thing I want to do is to cut out facing for our patterns. Okay, the facing for the neckline area, both for the back and for the front. So I still want to believe you know how to cut out facing, but if you don't know how to, just watch me. You fold a little part of the fabric, place your neckline area on it, and cut out accordingly. Can you see what I'm doing? Following the shape of the shoulder, and then you come out and trim it nicely. I'm placing it again to ensure that what I'm doing is the right thing. This is my front pattern. Okay, and now we have our back facings also ready. Can you see? So we just follow that same method and cut out our facing for the back and for the front. Normally, I don't like doing my videos with black fabric because it's usually not clear. But in this case, I don't have an option since we are trying to make a dress, to make the dress to be similar with the one that inspired us, right? So I had to use my black. Okay. And I think black is the best for this style. So that's why I even changed the color of the skirt to to make it a little different. I wish I could change the black because I don't like teaching with black fabric. So I was actually cutting out the back. Now is time for the front. For the front, as you can see, I have folded the pieces of fabric. Okay, it is on fold just like the front is on fold. Unlike the back that I cut out in twos, for the front I'll cut out just one on fold. Okay. And here is the facing for the front. Okay, so this is the facing for the front. This is how I'm going to put it together, sew and turn out our neckline. Okay, just like this. I'll sew using 1/2 inch of sewing allowance. Remember, while we were cutting, we left allowance of 1/2 inch. That's the sewing allowance for the neckline. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and join my facing, join back and front patterns together. Dear creatives, welcome back. So at this point I am done joining my upper bodice. Okay, I have joined the facing, I've joined by the sides. For the sides, I join with 1 inch of sewing allowance on both sides. Okay, so I'll be sewing, I'll be attaching the V area to the skirt also with 1 inch of sewing allowance on this spandex fabric. Okay, so it is 1 inch I used here. I sewed from the armhole area to the waistline, then I finish up the neckline with my facing, then the armhole also I finish it up by just folding and top stitching. So I am done with the upper bodice. I know you can sew this one is actually very simple. So attaching it to the skirt is the main thing, so I'll be showing you how to do that. So you face right side to right side and you'll be pinning on the wrong side like this, aligning the waistline of the bodice to the waistline of the skirts like this. So can you see what I'm doing? I've started pinning, and as I'm pinning, I'm following the allowance I used in sewing the upper bodice, which is a 1 inch sewing allowance. Then for the skirt area, I'm sewing with 1/2 inch. So that simply means this black will be 1 inch, 1/2 inch longer than the Duchess fabric. Okay, so as I'm pinning it, I'm ensuring that it stays put like that. Why this is so is because the black spandex fabric expands. So if I still sew with 1/2 inch just like the Duchess, it will be too wide by the time it starts expanding. So as I'm pinning, I'm leaving excess of 1/2 inch. So I'll follow that pattern and pin until I'll get to the end. So dear creatives, I'm done pinning on one side. So this is what we have gotten. Can you see? I have pinned to the end of the ruffled area. So turning it over, you see how it looks. So what we will do, we'll go to the machine and sew. After sewing, we'll flip it over for you to see, and then we also sew on the other side. Okay, before we go to the machine, let me just show you how it looks like. Can you see? So this is how it looks like for now, before we will now go ahead and also join this particular side. Okay, so let's go to the machine and continue our sewing. While sewing, you note that you need to keep arranging your ruffles so you don't sew them anyhow on each other. Okay, so arrange them and sew accordingly. So that's why you see me going back and forth, raising my footer up to accommodate the ruffles. So I'm just carefully sewing. I'll sew until I get to the end. And as you have noticed also, the allowance on the black fabric is about ½ inch excess of the allowance on the Duchess fabric. Okay, so now I've gotten to the end, flipping it over. This is what we have. Can you see? Can you see what we have now? So it's so beautiful. So I'll go ahead and also join on the rest sides, okay, maintaining the allowances. And then for this part, I will close it upwards about 3 inches. Okay, from here I'll sew 3 inches upwards to close the ruffled part. So I'll just go ahead and do all of that, and then you see the final result. Now, after joining both sides on the front and flipping it over, we have this. Okay, so this is how the front looks like after closing both sides of the V. Then flipping it over, we will have our back here like this. We'll also follow the same method and join the back. We'll join the back like this to the end, and also like this to the end, and then we'll close it by 3 inches on the ruffle area, and then we form our zipper allowance. So this is the result. By the time I was done with everything, this is the results. Can you see? Can you see how beautiful it is? At this point, if you have not subscribed to Classy by Mavy YouTube channel, please do well to subscribe so you keep enjoying beautiful and educative videos like this. Can you see? This is really beautiful. Thanks for watching. Make sure to practice yours and let yours come out even finer than this. I'll see you in my next video.